Muse for you, awesome websites without code.
Hey, what's up, Muser, and welcome to day 15 of building a chef website in Adobe Muse. Today we're on testing tools, so I'll go ahead and click on the day 15 folder within the course folder. So I'll double click, and here we have the day 15 testing tools PNG and the different testing tools you can use. So I'll go ahead and double click on the PNG, and for today we're going to take a look at Browserstack.com, which is a really useful testing tool. We're going to take a look at Chrome Developer Tools, at the Safari Responsive Design. We're going to take a look at Sizzy.co, which we've looked at a few times within the course. We're going to take a look at the Xcode app within a Mac, and we're also going to take a look at the Google Resizer website. So I'll go ahead and close the image here. I'll go back to the root of the course folder, and I'll double click on the chef website starting file.muse. So I'll go ahead and double click, and I'll double click on the home page. So the first thing I want to do here is go to File, Preview Page in Browser. And here we have the website. So now I can bring it into different browsers and test it across different testing tools. So I'm going to go to Browserstack.com first. So here in the URL, I'm going to go to Browserstack.com. This is a paid service, but I highly recommend it as it allows you to test the website on basically any device or all the modern devices, and you can test it across different operating systems. So here we have Android, iOS, Windows Phone, Windows, the different Windows versions, and Mac as well. So if I were to go to, let's say, Windows, I could test it on the latest Internet Explorer. So I can see, does the website still look good on Internet Explorer browsers? So here we can see it says Internet Explorer 11 on Windows 8.1. And here it shows us the website on a Windows computer on Internet Explorer 11. So as we can see, the gradient text doesn't show on Internet Explorer browsers, so we have that black text there. So here in the recipe section, we might want to change the color so it's a bit more visible. All right, looks good. So I can preview on different browsers, different computers, and here I can click on Switch within Browserstack, and I can test it on an iOS device. So I can say, let's say the iPhone 6 here. So I'll click on iPhone 6 and I'll say Safari. So you can test it on Chrome browsers and Safari browsers as well within the device. So here it shows me an iPhone device. It's loading up. And here we have the website on an iPhone 6. So I can click the menu, there's the drop down, I can go to the different sections, and it takes me to the different sections of the site. And we can even see that for the phone number, it becomes a hyperlink so that if the user's on the phone, they can click here and dial the phone number. So I can go through and look at the site on an iPhone 6. Looks good. So I can go and scroll through and just take a look at the site. Perfect. All right, so it's really powerful, Browserstack.com, as you can really test your website on different devices, and then it tells you the recommended devices, kind of the more popular devices. So Samsung Galaxy S5, Google Nexus 6, Google Nexus 7, iPhone 6s, and iPad Air. So I can click on any of these devices, and Browserstack will bring up that device, and I can test my website on that device. You'll want to install the Chrome extension right up here, the Browserstack Chrome extension, because it allows you to test your website locally. If you didn't have the Chrome extension, it wouldn't let you test the site locally, and the site would have to be on a live server before you could test it. So it's a free extension, and you can just search for it. You can type in Browserstack Chrome extension. And the service, I believe, is about $39 a month or maybe less, but you can go ahead and take a look at that. I myself use it because I work a lot with creating widgets and developing, so I like to test my site across different devices and different browsers. All right, so that is Browserstack.com. The next testing tool we'll take a look at, so we did Browserstack, so let's take a look at the Chrome Developer Tools. So I'll go right here into Chrome, and you can just right click and select Inspect. And if you right click and don't see the Inspect option here, you can go to the right here within Google, these three dots, click on More Tools, and select Developer Tools. And that'll allow you to use the developer tools within Google Chrome. So I'll right click, inspect, and then over here to the left, we have this tablet and kind of mobile symbol here. It says Toggle Device Toolbar. So I'm going to click on there, and here we can select the toolbar. So we have this kind of responsive design toolbar, and I'll bring this down a little bit. And here we can see we have the different breakpoints, and it's actually using the Google Resizer breakpoints. So this is another alternative. You can just use the Chrome developer tools, and all the breakpoints we added to the site are actually here within Google. So we have the green, which shows us, I believe, tablet, and we have the red here, which is greater than 1281 pixels, and here it shows you as well, kind of, actually the green is not tablet, but up here it lets you know what's mobile devices and what's tablet. So it's a really useful tool, and you can test your website across these different breakpoints. So I actually do recommend using the Chrome developer tools because it tells you the breakpoint values right up here, and you can use them for your own website. All right, so we can see on the 1281 breakpoint, kind of something a little bit interesting happens there with the contact button and the menu. So that's something that can be kind of looked at there. See, the contact button goes into the menu. So actually let me go back into here and see where that's happening. I'll select the scrubber tool, and I can see it's happening there. So let me go to the master page on the 1600 breakpoint, and I'll select these elements, and that is because this contact button isn't pinned to the right. So I'm going to select it. So yeah, I'm going to select the button here. I'm going to go to pin to the right on pin to page, and I'm going to select the menu and pin to the right as well on the 1600 breakpoint, the responsive pin to right. So on the 1600, we missed pinning it to the right. So as you can see, it's really useful using these testing tools because you can see what was missed and how the site is looking on these different breakpoints. So now I'll right click, go to inspect, and here we have the developer tool. So if I click on 1281, that's much better. So we can see that menu and contact button aren't overlapping on any of these breakpoints. And you can drag from here, this bar right here, and just drag in and out to go across different breakpoints. Looks really good. All right, so I actually might use this a bit more. I usually tend to use Browserstack a lot, which is good because it gives you an actual representation of the site, but the developer tools allows you to easily test the different breakpoints. All right, so again, it's right clicking in Google Chrome and clicking on inspect, and then select this symbol here. Within the inspect option, it's the toggle device toolbar. It's a symbol of a tablet device and mobile device there. All right, so that is Chrome developer tools. So now let's move on to the next testing tool. So the next testing tool is Safari responsive design. I'm going to close the developer tools here, and I'm going to copy this URL right up here at the top. So I'm going to hold down Command C to copy, and then I'm going to open up Safari on my Mac, and I'm going to enter in Command V in the URL bar and select enter. And here I have the site in Safari. So again, I can resize the browser to kind of see the different breakpoints. And to go to the Safari responsive design, you simply go to develop and then go to enter responsive design mode. And again, if you don't see the develop option here, I think you can go into Safari preferences. So I go into Safari preferences, and then you can enable the developer mode, which I believe is right down here. So let me show that real quick. So go to Safari, right up here, go to preferences, go to advanced, and then select show develop menu in menu bar. All right, and then so I'll go to develop and enter responsive design mode. All right, so here we can see we have the different devices: iPhone SE, iPhone 6s, iPhone 6s Plus, iPad Mini 4, iPad Air 2, iPad Pro, and the 600 breakpoint, 1366 and 1075. All right, so I can click on any of these devices and it'll show me what the site will look like on those devices. So right now we're still using the Safari kind of iOS. So this is a good tool, but I actually recommend using something like Browserstack to get an actual representation of how it will work on the device, because Browserstack is using all the components of that device. Here we're still in the browser and we're just kind of like resizing the browser width to see how it will look with on different widths there. But it's still a really good tool. It's similar to the Chrome developer tools where you can see the width of different devices and test on those different devices and different width browsers. All right, so that is the Safari responsive design. You can change the orientation by clicking twice on the device. So if I click and I click again, or you can just click on the device to change the orientation. So either landscape or portrait, just click on the device and it'll show you how the website will look in those different on those different devices, whether in landscape or portrait mode. All right, looks good. Perfect. All right, so that is Safari responsive design. And the other testing tools, let me open it here. We have the Sizzy.co. So I'm not going to go spend too much time on this because we've looked at it a few times when we were building the site. So in the URL, I'm going to go to Sizzy.co. And here I'm going to paste in the URL. So Command V and enter. And then we can look at the site on these different devices: iPhone 4, iPhone 5, iPhone 6, iPad Air, iPad 7 Plus. We have the Galaxy S4, the Nexus 6P, and the Nexus 7. And there's different options here on the left as well. I actually have a quick tip number 19, I believe, that goes over Sizzy.co in detail. And I'll leave that in the description area below as well. All right, so that is Sizzy.co. And then we have the Xcode app. So the Xcode app is this here. You can download it from the App Store if you don't already have it. But here I'll click on Xcode to open the app. And once Xcode is open, it looks like this. It says welcome to Xcode. And we don't have to do anything here. We can just go to Xcode here in the upper left and go to Open Developer Tool and select Simulator. So we can simulate, an iPhone 5S, different iPads, and different iPhone devices. So here I'll click on the Safari app, I'll click in the URL, and I'll right click and select paste to paste in the URL of the website, and then I'll select enter. And here we have the website on an iPhone 5S. So I can go through, click and hold, and drag down to see how the website looks like on an iPhone 5S. So that is the Xcode developer tool. You can select different devices. So here in hardware, just select hardware, select device, and you can select an iOS device. So we have iPhone 4S through iPad Pro. You can also take a look at an Apple TV 1080p. You can rotate left, rotate right, use the shake gesture. You can go to the home screen, you can lock the device and reboot it. So it's very similar to having that device in front of you, whether it be an iPhone 5S or an iPad. You can use it here in the Xcode app. And I actually have a quick tip as well, and I'll leave it in the description area below. A quick tip that goes over the Xcode app as well. All right, so those are all the testing tools. There's one more. There's the Google Resizer. So that's material.io/resizer. And for some reason right now, it's not really working because when I try to paste in the URL, it just keeps giving me this this pop-up here. So I'm not gonna really recommend it at the moment. In the first video or when we were going over the site, we did use it to find the breakpoints. So if I go to material.io/resizer, if we just use the default website, it shows us the breakpoints here. And this is what we used to select the breakpoints for the site. So 1600, we used 1280, 960, 840, 600, 480, and we also added a 320 breakpoint. You can also add a 360 breakpoint if you'd like as well. But here are the different breakpoints that we used for the site, mainly the laptop breakpoints here. And then we adjusted the website on those different breakpoints. All right, so those are the different testing tools. If you find that when you're testing, the website isn't loading, just re-render the site. So go to File, Preview Page, and Browser, because I think sometimes when the site hasn't been rendered for a while, it gets removed from the localhost cache and the site doesn't load anymore. One last thing I'll go over is that you can export the website to HTML. So rather than having to preview the site all the time, or if you want to send the site to someone else, you can export the site as HTML and then zip it up and send it to someone. So you can export the site to HTML by going to File and then select Export as HTML here at the bottom. So I'll click there, and then here you can click Next, and then here you can give the site a URL. So I'll say www.test.com, and then you can select a location. So here I'll click, and here I'm in the Day 15 Testing Tools folder. You can select any folder where you want to place the site in, and then select Choose right down here, and then select OK. So I'll click OK, and it exports the website as HTML, which is the code that's used to build a website. Okay, and after it's done, the website, you can see that the file is located on your computer, and you can test it, with any testing tools. The only thing with having it on your computer is that the site isn't using a localhost program. So when building a website, sometimes you need a localhost so that the elements within the website can be accessed. And I go over a tutorial about MAMP, and I'll leave a link in the description area below about localhost testing versus just having the files on your computer. But for now, because we don't have any widgets or any real sophisticated code within the site, it should work fine when the files are on the computer. And just do a bit of testing, and if you find that things don't work, then you might want to test your website from a localhost. So when you're previewing from Adobe Muse, it's actually using a localhost, but when you're previewing within your computer, it's not. So here it should be fine because we just have elements. So I can go to any testing tool. So I'll copy this, and let's see if it works in Sizzy, and I'll paste the URL and enter. And it doesn't. So that's just a good example of using localhost. It's not finding the site. So here it says files server DNS address cannot be found. So that's just one thing to keep in mind when exporting the site as HTML. But if I go to the Finder, we can see here now within the Day 15 testing tools, I have all the files I need to view the website on my computer. So if I double click on the index.html file here, which is the main file of the website, if I double click, the website will open and I can view it here. So that's just one thing to be aware of. If things don't work, it's probably because you need to be on a localhost. You can install an app called MAMP, and that creates a localhost on your computer, and you can preview the site from there, or you can preview from Adobe Muse, which is a localhost as well. All right, so that is it for Day 15, the testing tools. We went over Browserstack.com. I highly recommend Browserstack.com as it gives you an actual representation of the device and not just the width of the device, but it gives you all the internals as well, the operating system, how the website will actually function within that device. And then we looked at Chrome Developer Tools, which I actually really liked. I don't spend much time with Chrome Developer Tools, but I think I'm going to start using it more because it's very similar to Google Resizer. It has the same breakpoints as Google Resizer because it's from Google, and you can click on the different breakpoints and test the site. So I can right click, inspect, and I can click on these different breakpoints right up here, and it tells me if it's mobile, tablet, laptop, and the largest breakpoint here, 4K display, which is greater than 1280 pixels for the breakpoint. And it's just a really great way to see how the site looks on different breakpoints. And then you have the mobile breakpoint here, the 320, and everything's color coded, which looks nice. So that's Chrome Developer Tools. And we looked at Sizzy, which we've looked at a few times within the website. We looked at it when we were adding different breakpoints, and also in the beginning when I was showcasing the website. We took a look at the Xcode app, which is available on Mac computers, and Google Resizer, which actually isn't really working at the moment. It might be working by the time this video is released, but we did use Google Resizer in the beginning to take a look at the breakpoints that Google uses and to look at the breakpoints that we'd be using for the website. So Google Resizer, if you go into the Chrome Developer Tools again, all those breakpoints are there as well. And if you use the default website, you can look at the breakpoints in Google Resizer as well. All right, so that is it for Day 15 and the testing tools. Tomorrow we'll be on Day 16 and uploading the website to a live server.
Muse for you, awesome websites without code.